Ladies and gentlemen, our program will begin shortly. All attendees will now be muted. As the program begins, we strongly recommend you select Speaker View within Zoom for the optimal viewing experience. Please note that today's program is being recorded. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I am Rabbi Shai Deitch of Lubavitch of Montgomery County, and it is my pleasure to welcome you and thank you for joining us this evening for this unique program that will serve to strengthen our beloved Eretz Yisrael and strengthen Chabad centers across the United States. Rabbi Yuri Foreman's story of overcoming challenges and fulfilling one's dreams is a lesson for all of us. With the help of International Boxing Hall of Fame boxing promoter Russell Peltz and Israel Bond's Pennsylvania Region Executive Director Harold Marcus, Yuri will take us on his journey and how his spiritual strength has provided him with the blessings of his life. As you are aware, this is a two-part program, the interview followed by Yuri conducting a boxing fitness self-defense workout. To participate in the workout, individuals have indicated the purchase of an Israel bond for their local Chabad. If you did not sign up in advance for this workout, but would like to participate, please stay for part 2, then contact Harold Marcus and you will be contacted within 24 hours to purchase a minimum $36 Israel bond for the Chabad center of your choice. Harold's contact information is on the invite you received and will appear on screen at the end of this evening. Before I ask Harold to speak, I'd like to acknowledge Israel Bond's President and CEO, Israel Maimon, and Israel Bond's Vice President for Sales, Stuart Garwitz. We appreciate both of you for joining us. One more thing. This week on June 1st, Harold Marcus celebrated his 40th anniversary with the Development Corporation of Israel, Israel Bonds. For the first 30 years, Harold was a registered representative in the Pittsburgh office, and for the past 10 years has served as Executive Director for the Pennsylvania region. Please listen now as Harold describes the Israel Bonds portfolio of investments and how we can maximize our efforts to support Israel. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Deitch. On behalf of the Israel Bonds family, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you and to thank the Chabad communities across the country who have partnered with us for this very special evening. You know, when Yuri Foreman does battle in the ring, he's fighting an opponent, not an enemy. He trains so many hours a day for so many weeks in preparation. And when he gets in the ring, he knows that the battle is 45 minutes. And he knows that it will begin and end with a handshake. Israelis fight a far different battle. While it is against an enemy who is known, there are a lot of unknowns. First of all, there's no time limit. This battle has been in existence since Israel's existence in 1948. So for 73 years, they have been in this battle. While everyday life in Israel can be wonderful and exciting and fulfilling, Israelis have to live 24/7 with the possibility of an unexpected rocket being launched, with the unexpected possibility of having only 15 seconds to get into a bomb shelter. I need to tell you, there is no handshake. Now, we on this call and Jews around this country also have a part in this battle. But it's not to go to the front lines. It's not to put our lives in danger. It's to write a check. It's to make an investment so that Israel is economically strong, because an economically strong Israel can survive its battles. Now, all of you who are participating in the second part are buying a bond, and we thank you for that. But I want to talk to you about not just those who are participating in the second part, but everybody here, about how you can expand support of State of Israel through increasing your investments without spending any more dollars than you're already spending. First, this is part of what we call a double mitzvah program, whereby you're buying a bond to strengthen Israel and you're buying a bond to strengthen your Chabad community. This double mitzvah can be used to fulfill every other charitable contribution you're making. So when you're writing a check to an organization, think about, instead of giving them the cash, give them an Israel bond. As you know, they start at $36, and a great way to expand the support of Israel with some money you're already giving out. Certainly for your own personal portfolios. We talked about the minimum being $36, but bonds go from 36 to as high as you want to go, from 2 years to 15-year maturities. There are savings bonds, which pay you your income at the end, and there are current income bonds, which pay you twice a year. So these make a great investment for your personal portfolio. Another great and very important way to use dollars you're already spending is to gift an Israel bond for every simcha you're attending. A birth, a bar mitzvah, a wedding, a graduation, a confirmation, whatever the occasion is, connect that simcha to the state of Israel and to our heritage with an Israel bond. Our children will get all the electronics they need. They will get every Amazon gift card they need, but it's up to us to connect them to the state of Israel, and gifting them with an Israel bond is a great way to do it. Another great way to use dollars you're already spending is if you're saving for retirement. I think it's important to say that in the 70 years Israel has been selling bonds, and this is our 70th anniversary year, Israel has never defaulted nor been late with a single payment of principal or interest. So if you're saving for your retirement, you know that the dollars you put away are going to come back to you with the interest you are due, and you can plan because you know those Israel bonds dollars will be there. And I think another very, very important way to connect the next generation using Israel bonds is saving for education. I have an 8-year-old granddaughter for whom monthly I go online and I buy her an Israel bond for her college education, because I know when she's ready for college, the 18 years that I've been buying bonds for her will be there for her to use to pay for her college tuition and to enjoy the fruits of what her education will give her. So think about, too, for your own children and grandchildren, about investing in Israel bonds annually. I can give you examples of, for a friend of mine, for example, has 2 sets of twins, 2 years apart. He paid for those 4 children's college educations with bonds he began buying for them for their education from the time they were born. So again, these are all ways in which, with dollars we're already spending, we can vastly increase the support for the state of Israel. Our rabbis are our great sages. They are our teachers. But every one of us is a teacher as well. It is our job, our responsibility, to teach our children and our grandchildren the importance of the state of Israel to our heritage, the importance of the state of Israel to securing our future. It's also our responsibility to teach the world why the world needs Israel. When I think about my responsibility when it comes to the state of Israel, I'm always reminded of the first few words of the theme song from the movie Exodus. Those first lines say, "This land is mine. God gave this land to me. Not to you, not to us, but God gave this land to me." That gives me the responsibility of fighting for a safe, secure Israel now and into the future. With your Israel bonds contributions, you are saying, this land is mine. With your Israel bonds investments, I hope I didn't say contributions. With our Israel bonds investments, you are saying, this land is mine. God gave this land to me. When we were planning this program, I was trying to find somebody in the sport who could interview Yuri. And I really didn't know where to go, who to look for. But God, Hashem, works in wondrous ways. Out of the blue one day, I got a call from a gentleman who had a bond maturing in his grandson's name. And he wanted to know what to do with it. And he said his name was Russell Peltz. And I said to him, Russell Peltz, as in the boxing promoter? And he said, yes. How do you know that? Are you a boxing fan? I said, of course I am. And we had a discussion. And the discussion led to my asking Russell to participate in this evening's program. He's a renowned boxing promoter. He's in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. And it's now my pleasure to call on Russell Peltz.
Thank you, Harold. And thank you for asking me to be part of this wonderful event featuring an outstanding boxing champion, and even more important, a great role model, Jewish role model, Rabbi Yuri Foreman. Before we get to Yuri, I don't think a lot of people have any idea of the history of Jews in boxing. It's my opinion that, not my opinion, but from the turn of the 20th century until 1958, there were only 3 professional sports that mattered in the United States: baseball, horse racing, and boxing. I use 1958 as the dividing line because that was the year of the NFL sudden death playoff game between the Baltimore Colts and the New York Giants that jump-started pro football's popularity. And then in the late 70s and 80s, you had the NBA with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. And after that came expansion in ice hockey. But most historians will say that from 1900 to 1940, these were the golden years of professional boxing. Originally, it was the Irish, then the Jews, and then the Italians who dominated the sport. Jewish men were as tough as they come, but they had one problem. They were afraid of their mothers. And that's why, believe it or not, so many outstanding Jewish boxers never fought under their real names because they didn't want their mothers to know that they were turning professional. There's an old story that goes around. I'll use Lou Tendler as an example. He was an outstanding lightweight in the 1920s, actually in the teens also, and he didn't want his mother to know that he was fighting. And every night he'd go out and fight, amateur and pro under a different name. But one night he got a black eye and he didn't know what to do about it because in those days it was a shanda for Jewish men to become professional boxers. So he came home one night and he did what he could to hide the black eye, but his mother saw him and she went crazy. She said, "Lou, my boychik, my son, what have you done?" And she started crying and put her hands to her face. And Lou tapped her on the shoulder and put a $10 bill in his mother's lap. And she looked up and said, "Lou, what's this?" He said, "Mom, they pay us for fighting." She turned to him and said, "When's your next fight, son?" But a lot of fighters, take for instance, everybody's heard of Babe Ruth, the great baseball player. Well, Benny Leonard, the great lightweight champion of the 1920s, was the Babe Ruth of boxing. He was as well known as any professional athlete in the world. He fought Lou Tendler twice, once in North Jersey at a place called Boyle's 30 Acres, where 55,000 people attended. And it was a no decision bout. In those days, if you didn't knock out the champion, he retained his title. And they had a rematch a year later in Yankee Stadium. It was the first world championship fight in Yankee Stadium in the summer of 1923. 63,000 people paid to see 2 Jewish lightweights, 135 pounds apiece, fight for the world title. Leonard won a 15-round decision. Now, there were fighters like, my favorite is Gershon Mendeloff. Nobody knows who Gershon Mendeloff is, but they do know that after he changed his name to Ted Kid Lewis. He was from England. He was the welterweight champ in the second decade of the 20th century, and he was the first fighter to wear a mouthpiece. Mushy Callahan, who was the junior welterweight champion in those days, his real name was Morris Vincent Shear. Again, they changed their names to hide their identities from their parents. Jacob Finkelstein became Jackie Fields. It goes on and on. Jews fought Jews for world titles. The last one, I believe, was in 1934 when Slapsy Maxie Rosenblum beat Bob Olin for the world light heavyweight title. But in the 1920s, in that decade, there were 66 world champions in that 10-year period. 14 of them were Jewish. And of the 30,000 boxers worldwide in those days, 10% of them were Jewish fighters. The last great Jewish fighter was Barney Ross, born Beryl Rozevsky, originally from New York, moved to Chicago, won 3 undisputed titles, lightweight, junior welterweight, and welterweight. Retired in 1939. I don't know how many of you have ever watched the movie Body and Soul with John Garfield and Lily Palmer, but that is based on Barney Ross's life, as is Monkey on My Back with the great actor Cameron Mitchell. Barney Ross enlisted in the Marines, and while they wanted to give him an easy job boxing exhibitions, he volunteered for service, was wounded at Guadalcanal in 1943, eventually got addicted to morphine, but kicked his habit at Lexington at the rehab center in Kentucky and became a spokesman for Jewish fighters. Why did Jewish boxing die out? And then actually it died out after the Depression, but most importantly, after World War II, due to the GI Bill, which afforded every veteran a free education, and education being so important to Jewish people that all the returning veterans from the war, a lot of them ex-fighters, left boxing, took advantage of the GI Bill, and got regular jobs in which they didn't have to take punches in the stomach and the face. That, as I said, Barney Ross was the last great Jewish champion from the golden era. There have been Jewish champions since then. I promoted one of them in the 1970s. Technically or religiously, he was Jewish. His name was Mike Rossman, but he was born as Michael DiPiano in South Philadelphia. His mother was Seal Rossman. So according to Jewish law, he would be Jewish, but he was not raised Jewish. And when he turned professional in 1973, his father, Jimmy DiPiano, thought he could attract Jewish fans by having Michael fight as Mike Rossman. That brings us up to today. And the most recent Jewish champion, or the only one who lived in Israel, is one of our guests tonight, Rabbi Yuri Foreman. Now, I know you've got a big fight coming up, Yuri, on your comeback, but Harold will talk to you about that. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about your background. You were born in Belarus, which at the time, or at one time, was part of the Soviet Union. I know how Jews were treated back in the old days in the Soviet Union. What was it like when you were growing up?
So good to see you again. Too bad it's virtually. And thank you very much for your knowledge and sharing a little bit of history. You know, I feel a lot of Jewish Jews should know a little bit about the giants, you know, in sports besides baseball and like boxing, for example. Hello everyone. Belarus, city of Gomel, where I born, was part of Soviet Union. And the thing is, I born in 1980, and was still kind of a slowly on decline, perhaps. Soviet Union as a red machine. One of the movies I don't like to see is The Miracle on Ice. the thing is, my parents was not advertising that they were Jews. Of course, they had a passport, and a red passport that they had was under the nationality, was a Jew. But in the school, things were, I just like all other kids, a little bit more probably. I was getting in fights here and there, and then one day I got beat up. I got beat up in the swimming pool, and my mom, who was, she kind of, I would say, she made a big decision in my life. She took me to boxing gym after that. She figured out that perhaps with swimming, my chances are way better to defending myself if she would switch me, take me to boxing gym, and that's it. It was a love at first sight.
And then you moved to Israel when you were 9, correct? And you 10. Why did you
10 years old?
10? But you continued boxing in Israel. That had to be difficult, looking around for a gym or a place to learn your profession.
Yeah, you know what? I it kind of before I immigrated to Israel, I made Aliyah to Israel in 1991, May 19, I think. And it was interesting because you remember when Mike Tyson was fighting Donovan Razor Ruddock, the first fight? I think it was around 88, probably 88 or 89. And so the first time they showed American professional boxing in national TV in the Soviet Union. And I remember my early memory is I was sitting by the TV and I was watching this enormous giant in my eyes. I was growing up on Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, and all of the action actors and martial artists. And then when I see Mike Tyson, and I asked my dad, who is this man? And he says, Mike Tyson is a very powerful. And he told me, don't blink. And I was just blown away. And it's funny because when I was watching, and I was maybe 9 years old, 9 and a half, and there's a few things that stuck in my memory is when the commentator was saying, Mike Tyson in his usual outfit, black trunks, black shoes with no socks, and I was like, no socks. It's weird, and I realized that right after that fight, I realized that I wanna go to United States. I wanna be a world champion. And that was the earliest dream. That's my first dream. Every kid they want to be an astronaut or firefighter or police officer, and I was growing up, I want to be a world champion. So I had a little bit of advantage, I think, over other kids because I already decided at early age what I want to be and what I want to do in life. And then, in 91, yep.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and then in 91, my parents decided to immigrate to Israel, and not because of religious reasons, but because my dad got arrested a couple of times. It was and he's a very law-abiding citizen, but he had some issues. He was picked on by I don't know, local police. He don't even tell me now, even to this day, what was the issues. But my parents decided to move, and I didn't have no choice. I was not 10 years old. They take me with them. And in Israel, especially, it's funny. In Israel, if you look at the map in Israel, we surrounded, smallest country, we surrounded by, I don't know, 100 million Arabs, and not very friendly, at least at that time, not very friendly nations, And And the two main sports, you were saying before, boxing used to be in 20s and 30s, three main sports: horse riding, baseball, and boxing. Over there is, I would say, two sports is soccer and basketball. And I'm always saying that it's very strange when you look at the map, and it's not boxing or martial arts, but rather it's soccer, one of the main sports. And not to be disrespectful, but I've been saying that all along. Israel still have a lot of way to go in terms of soccer level. We're doing way better at martial arts and boxing and other sports. So that's my. It was a little bit tough though.
Did you have amateur? Did you fight as an amateur in Israel?
So I started amateur, a couple of boxing matches I had at age 7, 8, and 9. I would say maybe 5, 6 fights, and then in Israel I resumed boxing, and it was strangely there was no boxing gyms in Israel, and the only predominantly two groups that was doing boxing, training boxing or teaching boxing, is the Russian immigrants from former Soviet Union republics or Arabs, Israeli Arabs. And so the Arab villages, and I was living in Haifa, which is in the north of Israel, and about maybe 10-15 miles away there was a few Arab gyms, and they had boxing gyms. They had equipment. They had coaches, Russian coaches. Interesting. So I started my boxing career in Israel as pretty much training with Arab kids, and that was a little bit scary at the beginning. I was a little bit afraid, but I kind of put myself towards the future.
How old were you when you came to the United States?
So in Israel, I lived almost for 9 years. I had about maybe 50 amateur fights in Israel, a few international tournaments representing Israel, and I competed in national championships. I won 3-time national championship, and then I kind of growing up on Rocky movies, I always want to try my best in America, and so I was almost 19 years old, and I reached my potential in boxing, and then in Israel, it's every male, it's obligation. You have to go to army. After I became 3-time national champion, I was sure, and I was representing Israel in international competitions, and I was sure that I will have a way of going to army and still continuing boxing. And so when I went to my first, military interview, and so as a military personnel, and I told him I had all sorts of papers from boxing. I would say he was a head of boxing in Israel, and he gave me all sorts of proofs that I'm a champion, I'm this, and I have some future. I have a talent and a future, and down the road. And he just looked at the papers for like literally probably out of respect, just glanced at them like 10 pages. I said, listen, buddy, 3 years and then do whatever you want. And, 3 years is usually in the beginning, it's a vital time. You cannot lose that. And I had to make a decision. Either I go to army and kaputs on my boxing aspiration. But this story is just for the listeners out there. I didn't dodge. or I didn't draft. I did had I met down the road. 10 years later, I met with Israeli consulate here in New York already. They gave me a assurance that I'm doing my services right now for Israel, and then when I come back, I still can do my Meluim. I was in the translation probably would be from Meluim as kind of services that kind of a basic services, you know.
So you came to the United States, and how did you get started in a foreign country where nobody knew you?
Yeah, nobody knew me. I'm sorry?
Maybe a few boxing nerds knew who you were from international competition, but to come to New York and become a pro, how did you get started? How did it happen?
So I came to JFK. I arrived at JFK, and by myself. My dad is back in Israel. I lost my mom in a couple of years prior to that. So I had just the gym bag, few clothes, boxing gloves, headgear, mouth guard, and then I stayed with a buddy of mine in Bay Ridge here in Brooklyn, and then I asked, "Where's boxing gym?" And he says, "Like there's a lot of boxing gyms, but the most famous boxing gym is Gleason Gym. It's in Brooklyn. I think you should go there, you know." And literally the first day in the United States, I took the art train. I remember I went to downtown Brooklyn, and I walked till Dumbo area, where's Gleason Gym located. And Gleason Gym, for those who don't know, is probably the oldest gym now in the United States. It's been around 83 or 85 years. I had about 130 something plus champions over the time. And the owner of this gym, Bruce Silverglade, I came there, I introduced myself, I paid for first month's gym dues, and then I continued training, you know, and then I had to support myself. You know, American dream, unfortunately, it's not like usually they say. It's not really. American dream sounds very good, but you actually the reality is you have to work a lot, and you have to really also have faith in yourself, and there's going to be a lot of roadblocks, and there's going to be a lot of stumbling blocks, and the first month I already ran out of money. My dad didn't give me, we would not reach, you know, by no means, and then my dad gave me like $300 or so, and I couldn't pay for the gym, you know, and Bruce Silverglade had this program that he runs to this day, Give a Kid a Dream. And he says, "Don't worry, I'm going to sign you to this Give a Kid a Dream. You're going to come here for free." And so my daily routine was I was working from Sunday. I was working from Monday till Sunday, except Saturdays, because my first boss in this country was a Jew, and he was not working on Saturdays. He was a religious Jew. And I was working from 9 till about 6, and then I was running from Garment District in Manhattan all the way to Dumbo, Brooklyn, and then I continued training. And usually I was from 9 till 6, and then I was coming back to Beirut like 10:30, 11. So after a couple of years, it was very difficult. I was running out of the steam and the inspirations, and that was things getting a little bit rough at that part of my life. Yeah, so it was not easy.
Were you in those days? Most of the fights, the big fights, even now, are on Friday nights. Did you box on Friday nights?
So I was not religious by no means in the beginning. I had quite a few in the beginning. I had quite a few fights that were, I think probably the first 13, 14 fights. I had quite a few of them. It was on Friday or Saturday. So for me, it was like, I came here for boxing. I was boxing first. I was a boxer first. But that changed when I started experiencing this quote unquote American dream, where you're broke, you're training, you don't have much friends, and I was reaching the moment where I think I'm gonna be like, okay, I think I'm done. I think I'm tired. Those little moments, those moments of weakness, even though we all experiencing these moments of weakness, and now that I'm looking at it, it could have broke me, but I remember when I was living Israel, a few friends were kind of sending me off, and one of them was saying that, Yuri, remember, world champions are just 1 in a million, okay? So try yourself, then you come back, we're gonna start some kind of a business, we're gonna do something that, and anytime I was thinking that I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna ask my dad for money to buy me a ticket, I was thinking about him, I was thinking about this, technically a negative person, but he was actually fueling he was giving extra kick in my butt, so I was always, no, you know what, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try a little bit more. And at that time, I realized that I need some kind of a. He was mentioning before movie about Barney Rose, based on Barney Rose's life, body and soul. Sports in general. It's not just your physical self. It's not just your body. It's not how hard you can do, how big is your muscles. It's also the soul. It's the spirit, and that spirit is sometimes very, very, very often pushes over the obstacles, and the obstacles could be very, very powerful. You can look at an obstacle and there's no way we're gonna conquer it, and that's where our spirit, so to speak, maybe our soul, maybe God, it gives you this extra kick, this extra power, and I realized that at that time that boxing is not all physical. I need some kind of a spiritual strengthening, and that's when I start looking into my spiritual self, my Jewish roots, so to speak, and this, in boxing, for example, when I'm fighting, we kind of standing in the shoulders of giants, like Leonard, Barney Rose. This is the biggest boxing names the Jews ever produced, so thanks to them, I have there is something gives me extra strength to continue on moving, so that's when I discovered Judaism, and that's when I made few changes in my life, and this actually gave me retrospectively more strength, more not just physical strength, more spiritual strength, I believe.
Okay, so I one last question. I know how excited I get when one of my fighters wins a world title. Try and tell us what it was like in 2009 when they raised your arm and said, "From Israel, world champion Yuri Foreman." What went through your mind at that point?
When they say, and the new, and the new world champion, WBA world champion, it's weird. It's weird because you are kind of a living, almost like you're living it, but you're not really digesting it per se. I was very elated, very high. It took me a while to kind of realize, because I have a belt in my house, and this championship belt, and once in a while I had to kind of like to look at it, just to make sure, did I really do it? Wasn't a dream. It was amazing. It's something, one of those things that you have a long time goal, the childhood dream, and you're kind of achieving it. So luckily there is more belts out there. And you was actually mentioning that I'm actually fighting in 13 days. And I'm 40 years old, last time I checked. And the fire is still burning, and I'm still have goal, and I still have desire, still have this childhood dream to relieve and do my best to win it again, but the feeling was surreal. Surreal is something that I cannot even explain in the words.
You there?
Okay, listen, I'm glad we got together. I learned a lot that I never knew before. It was nice talking with you, and I'm going to turn it over
nice
to Harold
talking to you,
Marcus.
Mr. Pals.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the introduction, and actually speaking with you. You know more about boxing than me, and maybe perhaps we can continue our conversation and our friendship, where we can meet and continue on talking more.
Looking forward to it. It's all yours, Harold.
Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. Hey, champ, great to see you. Even virtually, I'm waiting for the day when we actually will be together again. You can have my gloves behind me, and
show me your.
fine. I'll be throwing those books in another couple weeks. So,
Okay.
but got my gloves. I'm wearing, everybody, my Team Yuri Foreman T-shirt, so I'm ready to do this. Yuri, you and I met 2014 when you came to Philadelphia to speak for me at an Israel Bonds event, and we developed a very special friendship that was forged by, obviously, our interest in boxing, our mutual love for Judaism, and our mutual respect for each other as Jews. And that continues to this day. So I want to talk a little bit about some history. I know when you lost the title, it really wasn't anything that Miguel Cotto did. It was that your knee gave way and you couldn't continue. The fact you continued fighting for a couple rounds with that knee gone was just a profile in courage. And you should be applauded for that. And I know you stepped away from boxing for a while. And we're going to get to that a little later, because I do want to talk about your comeback and your renewed spirit. But you did mention what pushed you to begin your spiritual journey. Can you tell us a little bit how that journey played out? Who took you under their wing, and how it led to you wanting to receive your smicha, your ordination?
Yeah. So the interesting part, once I'm a big fan of Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zichrono Livracha. He passed away very recently. I think one of the most smartest people that I listened to. And I remember the joke was saying, it says, if you lost in any part of the map, you don't know where you're at, your phone is you lost the battery, you lost your phone, you don't know what's GPS, what it is. It says, let me tell you something. Start singing Chabad Nigun. eventually some shliach, some Chabad rabbi are gonna hear you, and they're gonna hear it, and they're gonna come to rescue. So it's fascinating what Rebbe and the Chabad community, what they did, what kind of enormous work that they did worldwide. So when I start looking for my spiritual aspirations, people were suggesting try Buddhism, Zen, like meditations. All sounded very good. It's very like no disrespect to those ways, lives, or religions. But I was thinking, all right, if I'm Jewish, let me first start where the closest to the backyard, closest to home. And so I checked it out. I found a place. I found a rabbi. It was a rabbi, Dov Pinson. He's a shliach here in Brooklyn. A very renowned Kabbalist. So he did very huge effect on me. I'm just gonna retell the story. The first class that I attended, and that's really kind of first class that really pushed me to continue more. He started talking about boxing, and I was really unknown boxer, professional fighter at that time. And he started talking. He started his speech, his shir, his class with the boxing, the analogy of two boxers. And it says two boxers, our life is like two boxers in the ring. And the life and the boxers keep punching each other. And eventually one you don't see the punch. And he knocks the guy. He knocks another boxer. And the other boxer looking in the light. He's laying on his back. And what the boxer does, he asks the people, class, the students, and everybody's silent. I don't know what the boxer do, and he says, boxer always gets up and continue fighting. And Judaism, that's what the Judaism gives us. Judaism gives this inner strength, continue on fighting, continue on swinging, continuing on punches. And that stayed with me, and I started appreciating the beauty of what Judaism provides people in terms of spirituality. Judaism is not easy. It's not easy, or it's not walk in the park religion, or way of life. But it's definitely provides a very great depth and wealth of spirituality, and that's why that's where I really use it daily.
So, do you remember the moment that you said, "I want to be a rabbi"? Or was there a moment?
There was no moment till the moment, it just pops up. I remember Roy Binson was sending mass emails to all the congregants, and saying that he offers a smicha program. It's 5 years, starting once or twice a week, 1 hour long, each class, and for generous, whatever the amount of fee, generous fee, he gives you the smicha. And I was like, wow, I never even thought about it. Why not to expand my my teachings, my learning into a deeper level? And I thought that down the road, at that time, I would be in kind of perhaps an influence over a younger generation, because at that time I was back in Israel. I was growing up very, I would say, anti-religion, because I thought that you cannot have both. You cannot choose one certain life and then maintain the other life, being spiritual or physical. If you have such as physical physical life, physical job that you do, it's very hard to maintain your spiritual self. And that's, I was 18, I was a kid, you know, and that's when I realized that that in Judaism you can do both. You could be a rock musician, a very heavy rock musician, and yet you could be a very spiritual person. You know, you could be an actor, you could be a spiritual person, you could be a boxer, punch people for living, and actually you could be a rabbi, technically and figuratively.
Like many of us, you faced some major challenges over a few years after you lost your title, and I know you even stepped away from boxing for a while. Can you tell us why you made that decision to walk away from boxing? And can you also talk about how your spirit, what those challenges were, and how your spiritual strength helped you to overcome those obstacles?
Mm-hmm. So, not an easy answer. I definitely cannot answer in a few sentences. I'm sure people who listen, for example, they've been, I don't know what's our age group per se. So over you know what, over time I was always thinking, very surprised anytime I would hear like on TV or some kind of a show or maybe a therapy show or something. Let's say there would be a spouse, a woman. She's very abused by a husband, abused throughout years and years and years, physically abused, emotionally abused, and they have kids, and the abusement continues over the years. And I'm listening, going like, what's wrong with her? What's wrong with her? Why is she just not get up and get out of the door? You know, never occurred to me. Even like, what's the point? Like how people can be so stupid? I'm sorry, you know. But it's interesting in their story is because when the first time they met their husband, for example, because mostly. In speaking of abusements, it happens usually man abuses the woman, you know. Sometimes women abuses the man, you know. depends what kind of physical levels there are. So unless she's a boxer. But they're always saying in their story that anytime they met their spouse, the spouse was very beautiful, is great, is kind and everything, but suddenly slowly it changes, and the stark changes happens over the time frame that's almost unnoticeable, you know, and then they kind of used to leave in abusement. So to cut this story short, I was living in a kind of abusement. I was not physically abused, but more of emotionally, you know. And it's weird how much I was talking about how stupid she's not living. I turn out to be that person, you know, that over the years it just happened that I married a malignant narcissist, for example, and the abusement was very emotional. It's very emotional. It's very manipulative. I've been love bombed. I've been gaslight, and I lost any kind of a faith or trust into myself. And that was my, I would say, when I lost the title, then the thing started for almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. That was my. I had few fights during this 10 years, but. These 10 years were very, very harsh and learning experience. And that's what really, I took a break. I could not continue boxing because not till I met a person years later, I met a person who giving me a lot of support, and
We're going to talk about
that's what
Shoshana.
every person needs. Yeah, Shoshana is my wife. She's my wife. Happened to be also my manager. So Harold, by the way, you also have a manager. I'm telling everyone, every husband have a manager. So, but she's also my manager, and she manages my business, I would say, aspect of boxing, and tremendous support. A lot of people over the years, not even over the years, just recently. I'm 40 years old. I'm fighting. I receive comments or messages that people saying that, what the heck are you doing? This sport is for young. You should quit. But usually I know those people who saying those messages. Some of them are quite negative. They're more projecting, but they do have tremendous support at home, and my fire in chest burns as ever before, as I was in my 20s. So it's that. Sorry for a long answer.
I know how much Shoshana is responsible for the positive space you're in now. And I know we've got to wrap up, so I want to do two real quick questions. And I know that you credit your spiritual growth with helping you overcome your challenges, with helping you in your comeback. But the other thing that Shoshana impacted on your life was becoming a vegan. Can you just tell us briefly how that changed you?
So prior, I'm already 4 years vegan. Prior to that, I was kind of pescatarian or vegetarian. I would say pescatarian. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Few things that I find fascinating. That ever since what every single person does from the birth, from the first second of the birth, besides breathing, the things that we do till we all die eventually, God willing, till 120, we eat. Every day we eat. That's what separates, except a few times a year. Yeah, we have 24, about 5 hours fast that we dread for half a year, So we eat a lot, and how little actually nutrition and how little we know about inflammations in our body, how long there is so much studies, scientific studies, statistics, which is not really a scientific study, but statistics shows that, and just in general direction, that what we eat, it's really affect our way of life. Yeah, today with the modern medicine, we can live up to 90, but you want to live with the quality, not the quantity counts. It's the quality. You want to live till 90 walking. You want to be feeling great. You want to be strong. So I attribute my longevity of my career. I think being a vegan because I train, I recover way faster. Before, I remember when I was eating meat, for example, I eat meat. It takes so much energy just to digest it. I feel sleepy, Now, thank God, knock on wood, Baruch Hashem, I don't experience inflammations. I do feel a little bit soreness here and there, but it's natural. So I attribute this to positive changes in my day-to-day life.
Great. So one final question before we break for the self-defense class. This has been quite a revealing hour, full of insight. You've been so open and honest about everything. You continue to be a mentor to me, a teacher, a friend. So a question that probably has a long answer, but it needs to be short. What kind of life advice can you give to somebody regarding facing challenges, overcoming them, and really working to fulfill your dream?
So I'll give you it's a you know what, it's a very good question. And by the way, I draw inspiration as well from you. You told me that you are what, you just turned 90, right?
Thank you,
70, I
my
know.
friend. Now my
You
colleagues
still-
over ask me even more about my age.
you still throw punches. I've been professional for 20 years. 20 years. 20 years professional. I've been amateur for close to 10 years. I've been in boxing most of my waking life. And even though I'm fighting in 13 days, I even by the last week on Friday was my day before Shabbat, for example, I was training. I woke up, I didn't have no energy. I felt tired. I felt no desire, no, we all, and sometimes like I've been doing this for so long, I can do it on the autopilot, but I'm still having those days. Even though things that you love doing, you're eventually gonna have those days when you hate it. Yeah. And it's totally healthy. It's totally healthy. I have a great affinity for Broadway shows. First time I've seen it, I realized why Broadway theater is world renowned. They're not doing for a lot of money. They're doing every day, sometimes some days twice a day, and the actor performs with the same 100% quality that he does for 300 days or 200 days, whatever it is. And it's fascinating because I'm sure there's a days that he hates. I'm sure there's a days where the body hurts. I'm sure there's a days he hates it. He don't want to do it. But he performs like there's a meaning behind it. And you don't have to enjoy it. You just have to do it. Just do it. Nike signed.
Great.
This message is sponsored by Nike. But we're all gonna have challenges. And we're gonna go to synagogue, and the rabbi gonna say great drash. You're gonna say great message, and you're gonna love it. It's gonna inspire you to do more, to be a better Jew, to be a better person. But eventually, there's gonna be the days where just no, thank you. And that's the moment. That's the moment when you're gonna actually. That's when you're gonna appreciate it, because you're gonna push yourself.
Great message, champ. Keep inspiring us in the ring and out of the ring. I look forward to our continued friendship with you till we meet in person. We are now going to take about a 3-minute intermission, and the champ will be back with a self-defense class for all of us. Remember, if you did not sign up for the second part but would like to stay on and join us, please feel free to do so, and we will contact you for a bond investment. See you in 3 minutes. Welcome back, everybody. Now for the part of the evening that I think is important is the first. You know, with the increase in anti-Semitic attacks across this country, I think we have to know how to defend ourselves. So I am very proud to ask my friend, Yuri Foreman, to teach us some self-defense moves that we can use. Yuri, it's all yours.
All right. How you doing, guys? Well, good to see you. A little bit briefly for now, before I'm gonna do some kind of one second. Okay. So in the self-defense, we have to do a lot of things, a lot of repetitions. So I'm not per se Krav Maga expert by no means, but a boxer, you know. So boxing is very, it could be very useful in terms of defending yourself, learning how to use your fists. So briefly, I'm just telling you in advance, we will have to stand up from our chairs because I'm going to be also leading pretty much this class. Few things that we boxers in the gyms, we have to do things on repetition. Why we're doing the repetition is because it should be part of your, not vocabulary, more your memory, your muscle memory. And we throw punches. So without more explaining, I'm gonna get up, okay? So it's very important. I'm gonna probably locate, my computer a little bit lower so you guys can see. Everybody can hear me, right? Yes, we're good? All right. So very important, when you stand, you should be standing in the angle. You want to be in angle. You don't want to be too square-footed, okay? Because square-footed, you don't have no balance. A little push. First of all, your punches, your defense moves not going to have so much strength because we are square-footed. We need more ground base. So we have to always, anytime you throw a stone or you push something, you're always standing naturally, one leg behind. Now, if you guys lefty or righties, I don't know how many lefties, how many righties, hopefully you're all righties. So if you're righty, your right leg is in the back. It's in the, let me see, just down here. Your back leg is your right leg in the back, okay? So if you're lefty, we're doing opposite. Your left leg is in the back, okay? So now for the righties and lefties, matter of fact. Lefties have to do everything opposite what we do, what the righties do. So very important. God forbid you need to defend yourself. Okay, it's very important that remember your hands is your weapon. Okay, but it's also your defense. So it's very important how keeping your hands up. You want to protect your head. Okay, because your head is very precious, it's very valuable, okay? So it's very important that you keep your both hands close to your face. Just, God forbid, even if you get punched, you're getting punched in your hands. You want to keep your hands higher to your face. If you're lefty or righty, you're keeping them close. Your elbows, you also have to protect your organs, your rib cage, that have a lot of organs. So you have to keep your elbows more narrow. Your shoulder should be relaxed, okay, as much as possible, okay? And I would say first useful, and if you're righty, remember, if you're righty, your dominant punch is your right hand. It's your strongest hand. If you're lefty, you're left. all right? And I highly recommend, even if you get in, God forbid, and getting in a situation where an attack or any kind of a assault, God forbid, is inevitable, okay? Don't wait for the punch. Be the one who's actually punching first, okay? So the first punch that I would say, the first combination, I would say the most used is 1-2. In boxing, we call it 1-2. 1-2 is left, right. And you're standing in as an angle, just as I explained, not front-footed, in an angle. And then the first thing you're gonna throw, 1-2, 1-2. Before that also, I forgot to mention in the beginning, it's important how you're making the fists, all right? A lot of people, unfortunately, they making the fists like this, they tucking their thumb right on the fist. That's very bad. You can hurt yourself, it can hurt you, you can actually break your thumb. So very important, all you do is you first get your fingers, 4 fingers, and then thumb protects them. And when you punch, your fist, your forearm, and your knuckles straight, okay? Straight, not like that, not like that, straight, okay? Now, 1-2, when you throw 1-2, 1-2, always aim in the nose, okay? Nose, because nose connected to so many, we have so much sensitivity with the nose. As soon as you punch someone in the nose, besides blood, for example, there's tears coming and everything. It's buy you couple seconds of making the escape, okay, and not continue more fighting. And please, guys, before we continue now, don't try it at home, or don't do it with your spouses or your girlfriends or your boyfriends, all right? It's a joke. All right. So let's try this. 1-2, all right? Left, right. If you're lefty, it's a right, left. Now, righties, left, right. Let's throw a couple punches, right? Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. It's important also visualize when you're punching. When you're punching, you don't want to look in the floor. You don't want to look anywhere. You're punching right at the target. Your eyes looking at the target, and you're punching. 1-2, 1-2. 1-2. All right, let's throw a couple punches. We haven't been moving for the last hour at least. Let's throw 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Let's do one more. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Again, 1-2. Good. So 1-2 is, you don't even need to be in a gym. If in the future, if you'd be interested, for example, continue doing a little bit of boxing, you can do it at home. The best, I would say, the best thing, if you could have 1 pound weights in your fists, and you develop quite a bit of shoulders and a little bit of strength. Actually, your hands are getting a little bit more heavier, and that's how you actually build more strength. All right, so 1-2 would be the most one of the great combinations in self-defense. Now, a little bit. Another thing is we can learn so many things in the gyms. We can learn over online, for example, just like now. But one thing is, I'm sure everyone at some point been scared in their lives. And when you get scared, all the knowledge of self-defense is gone. Okay, so we have to, once in a while, we have to challenge ourselves. And boxing, for example, we challenge ourselves with the sparring sessions. It's an imitation of real fights. And we learn how to control our fear. And it's very vital. Now, when, for example, if you are a little bit hesitant of punching someone 1-2 and right in their nose, I'm not I've been in a few Krav Maga classes. Friend at that time was teaching them. Very useful is, I'm not gonna go delving into too much into the Krav Maga, but punching or kicking in the groin or thumb right in the eyes, it's very useful. It works very fast. All right, guys. Now let's try question for you guys. What is uppercut and what is hook? What's the difference? Anybody can show me on a screen what's uppercut, for example? All right. Very nice. Yes. Yeah, Miriam, very good, very good. Yep. Perfect. So this is uppercut. And interesting kind of a fun fact. Carlos Mendoza, he was 1720s, a Jewish bare knuckle fighter in England almost 300 years ago. He discovered uppercut. He actually invented uppercut. So uppercut is very useful punch. So here, as being an uppercut, same stance, keeping our hands closed, right? And for this punch, we get a little bit smaller, okay? A little bit smaller. We have a little bit more close to the ground, all right? And from here, we throw right uppercut. If you're lefty, it's a left uppercut, okay? Now we're gonna throw as a righty, right uppercut, and you look right into, you get close to someone and somebody actually gets closer to you, and that's when you punch. Remember, you have to make your fist very tight and you punch in, bam, bam, very short, bam, bam. Let's throw 10 uppercuts, okay, guys? Ready? That's not a lot, but let's at least have a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of idea what it is. 10 uppercuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now, since you already know uppercut, then it's a hook, okay, obviously. So let's try now to throw right uppercut and then left hook, okay? Left hook, and left hook is parallel to the floor. Parallel to the floor, it means your forearm is same straight as a floor, just parallel, just a little bit, kind of a shoulder height of your shoulder, okay? So we're throwing right uppercut and left hook. Right uppercut, left hook. If you're lefty, it's a left uppercut, right hook. Okay, righties, let's go. Left uppercut, right uppercut, left hook. 10 times, all right? Pa, 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 pa. That's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. Good. All right. Now, I think, all right, everybody's good. All right. Now, another I would say very, beside learning how to punch, it's fascinating how Hashem, God created us, He gave us muscles, right? But if we don't work on our muscles, we're gonna lose muscles, all right? If you don't use it, we'll lose it, all right? So it's very important, once in a while, in your life, daily life, I highly recommend and highly encourage you, when it doesn't, you don't even have to be, don't even be really as an athlete. You don't even have to be a fan of sports, but it's purely for the health reasons. Everybody should do some kind of a resistant workout. You want to build those muscles day to day, because remember, once we get older and older, we're going to have less and less muscles, and those muscles need to be always strong, okay? So I'm just going to give you a couple examples that you don't need no gym whatsoever. That would be one of the good exercise. It would be a squat. Squats, you keep your hands up, shoulder width stance, 10 squats. You can do 10 squats. 10 squats, maybe 3 sets of 10, you know, with the little breaks, with the little intermissions in between. You can do push-ups. Push-ups very useful. You develop a lot of muscles in your shoulders, in your triceps, in your chest, in your core. So it's very, I highly recommend, guys, to always work on yourself. Remember that it's not in today's world, we appreciate, and we are not just appreciate, we are I would say the importance is always in our knowledge and our brains, you know, but our muscles, it's important aspect of our physical selves, you know. So it's important to also not to forget that we can lose muscles, and it's not a good thing. Okay. All right. So let's go right now, guys, with a 3-punch combination. All right, 3-punch combination. It's going to be 1, 2, and then followed by the left hook. It's called 1, 2, 3. And it's weirdly in boxing, we all have a number for each punch. Straight punch, left punch, for example, it's 1. Right straight is 2. Left hook is 3. Right hook is 4. Left uppercut is 5, and right uppercut is 6. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. All right, 1, 2, 3, straight left, straight right, finish with the left hook. And this is going to look like this. All right, 1, 2, left hook. 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 And it's good combination when, God forbid, you have an attacker and you throw not one punch, you throw a combination of fast barrage of punches. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's go for 10 times. All right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Bam, 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 bam. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. One more. And time. Good. All right, guys, if you feel okay, let's do in between quick 10 squats. All right, 10 squats looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. I'm sure, yeah, I don't think anybody can have questions. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, so ready for next combination? Next combination. Next combination, I would say, if somebody trying to grab you by the neck, you know, kind of like towards and kind of pull you forward, you know, like they grab you and just pulling over. And that's when very useful is the 2 uppercuts right here, when they just pull you and you punching, bam, 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 right, left uppercut, right, left. They grab you by the neck, they try to pull you, and you throw right away. Preemptive uppercut, all right? Right, left uppercut. Ready? Let's go, guys. Only 10, all right? 6, 5. 6, 5 is a number. Let's go. Right, left, right, left, right, left 3, right, left 4, right, left 5, right, left 6, right, left 7, right, left 8, right, left 9, bam, bam, 10. Good. All right. Okay. I don't hear you guys. All right. So, all right, the next punch combination. And it's not actually going to be not even a punch. It's going to be a more defense move. Defense move is, anytime I ask, what's the easiest defense? And they say it's offense. Offense is part of, yeah, technically it could be a defense, but it's not the easiest. All right. So the easiest defense is always a step back. Somebody coming towards you, they coming kind of they take your personal space. The first thing you're gonna do is step back. Step back. You kind of breaking this distance. You give yourself more distance. You are stepping back, and then right hand. All right. This is what we're gonna do. Step back, right hand. Again, step back, right hand. Step back, right hand. Step back, right hand. Step back, boom, right hand. They're coming in close, they rush towards you, step back, boom, right hand, right into the nose, okay? Or the face area, you know, it's probably hard to punch someone in the nose, but face area in general, you know? Step back, right hand, boom. Step back, boom, right hand. Again, step back, boom. Again, step back, boom. So we did 1-2, we did 1-2-3, we did some uppercuts. We did uppercuts, left hooks. Those are good ways, I would say, if you are into sports or you want to do a little bit of exercises in the morning. You wake up in the morning after coffee, perhaps, or if you, depends how early, or if you have some little bit of time. But I think everybody can find a little bit, maybe 15, 20, 25, or 30 minutes of time for themselves, for their body, you know. And I highly recommend sometimes after a little bit of stretching, a little bit warm up, you can go through all these combinations of all these fighters, of these punches. 1-2, bam, bam. 1-2. That was our first thing. 1-2, bam, bam. 1-2, 1-2. Then you can go 1-2-3. 1-2, left hook. 1-2, left hook. 1-2, left hook. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Then right uppercut, right? Right uppercut. Right uppercut. 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Right uppercut, left hook after this. Right uppercut, left hook. Right uppercut, left hook. Right uppercut, left hook. Right uppercut, left hook. 10 times of this. And then in between, you could add always a little bit of squats. Okay, you can do a little bit of squats. Okay. And then step back, right hand. Step back, right hand. Step back, right hand. So those repetitions that you do, step back, bam, bam, step back, bam, bam, it becomes part of your subconscious. Maybe I would say conscious, but in a way of that you don't even have to think about it. So God forbid there's some kind of a danger, you are not even going to think about it, you're going to react. This reaction, this reflex reaction becomes part of you, and that's when you react to certain thing without really having conscious choice. You know, somebody, God forbid, pushes you, you step back, boom, you're punching first. So it's important to always work on yourself. We are having our bodies that we are stuck with and it's our responsibility also that we are training our physical selves, you know. All right, guys, now we're gonna go with another punch. Okay, another punch. It's gonna be it's gonna be left, right hook, right hook. Okay, we're gonna be standing in our angle, being in a boxing stance or being in a martial arts stance, always in an angle, right? And here we're gonna throw left hook, right hook, left hook, right hook. Now here, with our fists, when you're punching left hook, we're punching where our the first two knuckles, the biggest ones. That's when you're punching. So a little bit in an angle, like I would say 45 degrees, not fully, not like that, 45 degrees, pum, pum. All right. So two punches, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And when you put your shoulders behind those punches, your left shoulders and the right shoulder behind right punch, that's when you have even more punching power behind those punches, all right? So left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And remember, these two punches, you're punching right into the target's head, okay? You don't want to punch the shoulders, you don't want to punch the elbows, you go straight to the head, always to the head. Left, right, pum, 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 pum. And the faster the punch, the more powerful it's going to be. Pum, pum. And remember, when you're punching, make your fist very, very tight, okay? Pum, 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 pum. Let's go for 10, all right? Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Pum, 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 pum. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. One more. Left, right. Good. Very good, guys. Let's do real quick 10 squats, okay? 10 squats, because we need the strong legs, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Good. Okay. So that was two hooks, okay? 2 hooks. And remember, 2 uppercuts when somebody trying to grab you by the head, bam, bam, right away to the punches. I noticed there's on our class few ladies, all right? Just don't try it on your husbands, okay? It's tempting, but don't do it, okay? They might be deserving. Only on one instance, if they don't take the garbage on time, okay? Then you can throw a punch or 2. But I didn't say that, okay? It's other rabbi said it. Okay. Okay, guys. Now we're gonna go with the other combination, all right? We're gonna throw 4 straight punches, like almost we don't know nothing. We just, God forbid again, any kind of a danger. We're not gonna go uppercut. Sometimes, we're not even gonna remember uppercuts or hook or whatever. Just 4 punches, but a very important part of these 4 punches, left, right, or right, left, if you're lefty, is always punching right in the same target. You don't want to punch different ways, always in the same target. Bam, 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 bam. 4 punches, all right? 4 punches, 10 times, all right? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. Good, guys. So that was 4 punches. All right. So we're gonna finish. There's sometimes when we take a stairs, all right, when there's no elevator in your house and you take stairs or some building or whatever, after second floor, third floor, sometimes somebody feels even tired already or breathing heavier on the first floor. So it's very important, because when things get tough, our adrenaline rush, we have adrenaline rush. We don't feel like kind of a strong, our anxiety, like we have all this adrenaline in our brain. We almost feel like Superman, but occasionally we're gonna get tired, So very important to build our, I would say, cardiovascular fitness. Okay, so let's do this. Last thing, okay? Last thing, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna put a timer. I'm gonna put a timer for 1 minute, okay? 1 minute. I'm gonna have a timer for 1 minute, 60 seconds. And what we're gonna do this 60 seconds is we're gonna punch non-stop, punching non-stop, any punch. You can throw straight punches, you can throw uppercuts, you can throw hooks, but non-stop for 60 seconds. And the last 10 seconds, we're gonna go sprint. We're gonna give it even faster, okay? So this is what we're gonna do now. I already told you what we're gonna do, but we're gonna start it in 5, and it's gonna be start throwing punches, all right? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, time. Let's go, guys. Pick it up. Let's go. Non-stop, yeah. Uppercuts, hooks, any kind of punches. Make sure you punch right in the same spot. Visualize the same spot. This uppercut goes in the same spot. Hooks, same spot. Straight punches, same spot. Keep on going. Keep on going. Yeah, look at that. We almost halfway there. 30 seconds on. Let's go. Let's go. Uppercuts. Keep punching. Keep punching. And don't stop. Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. And the last 5 seconds, the last 10 seconds, we're going to pick it up. And we start in 2, 1. Pick it up. Fast, 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 fast. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. You know what? We can have a little virtual high five. Boom. Very cool, guys. I don't know about you. I broke a sweat. So very, very, I cannot even stress this, how important it is have time always for yourself to exercise, because a strong soul also needs a strong body, okay? And we have a perfect balance when our body also as strong as it can be. We all have potentials of being very strong, but it takes work, and it takes a lot of physical work. And sometimes we're not going to feel well. We're not going to feel desire to do it. But find yourself literally 20 minutes, 25 minutes, do some kind of you don't want to do boxing, you can go to the staircase and just go up and down, up and down, up and down. It's a great, it's a great way of, in our building, I'm living in the Crown Heights in Brooklyn, and our building, 7 floors and very steep stairs, and our elevator now on construction for 8 weeks, for example. 8 weeks, 2 months, 2 months, no elevator. Half of people already moved out, by the way, just telling you. So, but I already see by the 2nd, 3rd floor, I can see it's like it's a Yetziat Mitzrayim. It's like Exodus from Egypt. By the 3rd floor, you're already thinking, my goodness, are we there yet? Where's our promised land? People kvetch, people this, it's interesting, It's interesting. I'm not looking forward like not having elevator, but I'm like, okay. Sometimes it's yeah. So sometimes we need challenges. Sometimes we have to put ourselves through challenges. And that's the most important, the most important. And we have our free will, if you will, free will. We can react. We have our choice how we're going to react to certain things. If we are going to get, let's say we're going to get tired, we can tell ourselves, okay, maybe I need a break. I'm tired, or maybe we're going to choose the other voice going to say, No, 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 no. You get up right now. You get up and do what you have to do, because we have our lives, we have our missions in our different and unique missions in this world, and nobody gonna pat us on the back, in the back of our head, as you know, oh yeah, you're tired. Oh yeah, you should chill. You know, doesn't matter what age you are. You know, be 50, 60, 70. Look, Harold, for example, 7 years old. You've seen what I did with his arm, right? Harold should show you later. It's a joke. Yeah. Harold, come on, show the arm, show the arm. What I did to you. Yeah. You see? Yes.
Yuri, can't thank you enough.
Oh no, thank you thank you.
Anybody who wants some information, anyone who wants the link to Yuri's fight on the 19th, email me and I'll get it to you. It's been a great evening, and we're going to now go to Rabbi Mendy Shapiro for the closing. Thanks, my friend.
Wishing you a lot of success, a lot of health, a lot of protection. Don't get into any kind of a trouble. But remember, if you even get remotely any kind of a trouble, remember you punch first, okay? Always works. And then, by the way, don't stick around. Don't stick around. Just turn around and run, okay? Okay, good.
All right. Thank you, Yuri, for the self-defense lesson. We hope that none of us ever need it, but it's important to have the skill. So I'm Mendy Shapiro, the rabbi of Chabad in Monroeville, just outside of Pittsburgh. And this has been an evening that has strengthened our spiritual health, our physical health. I'm just getting tired, just like watching and trying to keep up, and as well as the financial health of the state of Israel and Chabad communities across the country. This double mitzvah event brings us together. When we come together and speak with one voice, we send a powerful message that the Jewish people are united in a common heritage and in securing our future. Thank you for joining us. And if you haven't yet purchased your Israel bond or would like to increase your investment, please contact your local Israel bond representative or Harold Marcus, whose contact information will be on our closing screen. We will direct you to your representative. Good night, stay well, and stay safe.